Welcome, fearless viewers, to another chilling episode of Fear Files. Tonight, we delve into the darkest corners of the mind with three spine-tingling tales that blur the lines between reality and nightmare. First, join us in a shadowy sleep clinic where a revolutionary dream experiment turns into a living horror as nightmares bleed into reality through an enigmatic mirror. Next, we journey to an ancient mansion where an antique mirror awakens grotesque reflections and reveals a harrowing history of vengeance and despair. And finally, brace yourself as we explore a mysterious asylum where the echoes of tortured spirits and a labyrinthine dreamscape converge to challenge the boundaries of sanity. Get ready to face your deepest fears. Lights out and let the terror begin.
Dr. Evelyn Hart stood at the entrance of the Somnus Institute, gazing at the sleek, futuristic structure nestled among the towering pines. The Pacific Northwest forest seemed to stretch endlessly, its dense fog swallowing the world beyond. Evelyn's heart raced with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The facility, with its pristine glass facade and high-tech security, was a far cry from the typical sleep studies she had conducted. Her assistant, Jamie, was busy unloading equipment from the van, while Evelyn observed the researchers and staff bustling around the entrance. She was here to oversee a groundbreaking experiment, an attempt to share and control dreams through an innovative dream monitoring device. Her ambition was fueled by a desire to unlock the deepest mysteries of the human mind. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As Evelyn entered the building, she was greeted by Dr. Vincent Blackwood, the Institute's enigmatic founder. Blackwood exuded an air of charismatic authority, his sharp eyes and confident smile betraying none of the dark secrets she would soon uncover. "Dr. Hart, welcome," Blackwood said, extending a hand. "I trust the journey was comfortable?" "Yes, thank you," Evelyn replied, shaking his hand firmly. "I'm eager to see the setup." "Right this way," Blackwood said, leading her through the high-tech corridors of the facility. The walls were adorned with screens displaying data, and the hum of advanced machinery filled the air. The participants, 5 volunteers from diverse backgrounds, were selected for their stable psychological profiles. They were briefed on the study's objectives: to use the dream monitoring device to induce and observe shared dream experiences. Each participant was given a state-of-the-art sleep suit, embedded with sensors that would link their dreams to the central system. Evelyn watched as the participants settled into their individual pods, their bodies enveloped in the soft glow of the devices. The pods were designed to be comfortable and cocoon-like, but Evelyn couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. As the participants drifted into sleep, the dream monitoring device activated, linking their minds into a shared dreamscape. The initial moments were calm, with the dreamscape appearing as a surreal, ethereal cityscape, glowing streets and buildings fading into mist. The dreamscape quickly shifted. The city's glow dimmed, replaced by a heavy fog that rolled in like a living entity. The buildings transformed into towering, grotesque structures, their faceless windows staring down at the participants. The city seemed alive with an oppressive presence, its twisting alleys and shadowed corners hiding unknown horrors. Participants began to report feelings of dread. Their once familiar surroundings became disorienting and hostile. The shared dreamscape started to manifest their deepest fears, but none were prepared for how real it felt. Evelyn monitored their vitals from the control room, her anxiety growing as the participants' heart rates spiked and their brainwave patterns became erratic. The dreamscape was shifting too rapidly, with terrifying figures emerging from the fog, faceless entities that seemed to stalk the participants through the twisted city. As the nights passed, the line between dream and reality began to blur. Participants started experiencing phenomena that seemed to leak into their waking lives. One participant, Tom, reported seeing shadowy figures in his peripheral vision, while another, Maria, claimed that the fog from her dreams had begun to seep into her apartment. Evelyn, troubled by the escalating reports, confronted Blackwood. "This isn't what we anticipated," she said, her voice trembling with frustration. "The dreamscape is merging with their reality. We need to shut this down." Blackwood's expression remained inscrutable. "The device's potential is far beyond our initial projections. We must push forward." Evelyn's concern deepened. The more the participants experienced these nightmarish visions, the more their grip on reality weakened. Desperation set in as they attempted to piece together the connection between their nightmares and their waking lives. The dreamscape grew increasingly hostile. Participants found themselves trapped in a labyrinthine city where every turn led to dead ends or into the path of the faceless entities. The constant surveillance by these entities, combined with the eerie silence of the fog, drove them to the brink of insanity. Evelyn realized that the dreamscape wasn't just a manifestation of their fears. It was a sentient entity feeding on their terror. She began to investigate the origins of the dream monitoring device, seeking any clues that could explain its malevolent influence. In the facility's archives, Evelyn uncovered documents revealing Blackwood's obsession with transcending human consciousness. The dream monitoring device was not just a scientific breakthrough, but a tool designed to bridge the gap between the conscious and subconscious, a project with far-reaching and dangerous implications. Determined to end the nightmare, Evelyn confronted Blackwood. "This has gone too far," she said. "The device is out of control. We need to dismantle it before it destroys us all." Blackwood's demeanor shifted, revealing a cold determination. "You don't understand. The device has unlocked a realm beyond our comprehension. We're on the brink of a new era." As Evelyn argued with Blackwood, the dreamscape began to bleed into the real world with greater intensity. The facility was overtaken by fog, and the faceless entities started appearing in the hallways. The participants, now more terrified than ever, fought to escape the encroaching nightmare. With time running out, Evelyn and the remaining participants decided to shut down the device manually. They navigated through the fog-laden facility, facing the faceless entities and their own escalating fears. Their journey through the labyrinthine structure was fraught with peril, as the dreamscape's horrors manifested with increasing ferocity. In a climactic confrontation, Evelyn and the survivors reached the control room. Evelyn fought through her own fears and insecurities as she disconnected the dream monitoring device, severing the link between the dreamscape and reality. The moment the device powered down, the dreamscape began to unravel, and the faceless entities dissipated into the ether. The fog cleared, and the participants slowly returned to their senses, their minds reeling from the ordeal. The Somnus Institute was shut down, and the dream monitoring device was dismantled. Evelyn and the participants were left to rebuild their lives, haunted by the memories of their shared nightmare. Blackwood vanished, his fate unknown, leaving behind only questions and a lingering sense of dread. Evelyn's career was forever marked by the events at the Somnus Institute. The experience had revealed the terrifying power of human consciousness and the consequences of pushing scientific boundaries without regard for the ethical implications. As she looked back on the ordeal, Evelyn knew that the line between reality and illusion was far more fragile than she had ever imagined. The horrors they had faced were a stark reminder of the dark potential that lay hidden within the depths of the human mind. Dr. Amelia Stone arrived at the Seraphim Sleep Clinic on a crisp autumn morning. The facility, a sleek architectural marvel nestled deep within the Pacific Northwest forest, stood in stark contrast to the gloomy woods that surrounded it. Its glass facade shimmered in the dappled sunlight, promising a modern sanctuary for those seeking relief from insomnia. Amelia, a clinical psychologist with a reputation for her groundbreaking work in sleep research, was both excited and anxious about the study she was about to oversee. The auditory dream induction study was a pioneering project intended to enhance sleep quality through a sophisticated auditory device that projected calming sounds. Participants had been recruited from across the country, each with a history of chronic insomnia and a hope for a new beginning. As Amelia walked through the clinic's pristine corridors, she marveled at the state-of-the-art equipment and the sleek, minimalist design of the facility. Her assistant Jamie, a young and eager research coordinator, was busy setting up the equipment in the control room. The participants, 5 in total, were settling into their individual sleep pods, each equipped with the latest in sleep technology. The first night was smooth. The participants, exhausted from their long journeys and hopeful for relief, drifted off to sleep with minimal difficulty. Amelia observed their brainwave patterns and vitals from the control room, where Jamie monitored the auditory signals transmitted to the participants' devices. The initial results were promising, showing stable sleep cycles and relaxed brain activity. However, as the night wore on, a subtle unease began to settle over the clinic. Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, but she dismissed it as nerves and the natural anxieties that came with overseeing such an innovative project. By the second night, the serene atmosphere of the clinic had started to shift. Participants reported hearing faint, almost imperceptible whispers in their dreams. At first, these whispers were dismissed as side effects of the study's auditory stimulation. The calming sounds were intended to ease participants into deeper sleep, but the whispers seemed to have taken on a more insidious tone. Amelia and Jamie reviewed the recordings from the second night. While the audio captured the soothing sounds intended for the participants, it also revealed strange anomalies, distant murmurs and echoes that were not part of the programmed stimuli. Amelia's concern grew, but she remained optimistic, attributing the disturbances to possible technical glitches. As the days passed, the whispers grew louder and more intrusive. Participants began to report vivid, unsettling dreams. They described eerie trails leading them through dark, foggy landscapes, and encounters with shadowy figures that seemed to watch them from the periphery of their vision. The dreams were increasingly disturbing, leaving the participants feeling anxious and disoriented upon waking. Driven by growing concern, Amelia began to investigate the clinic's history. She was curious about the land on which the clinic was built, as the clinic's serene exterior seemed incongruent with the unsettling experiences of the participants. Her research led her to old archives and dusty files that revealed the site's dark past. The clinic had been constructed on the grounds of a defunct asylum, notorious for its brutal treatments and questionable practices. The asylum had been shut down decades earlier, but its history was marred by allegations of mistreatment, disappearances, and unexplained deaths. Amelia found records of a former head nurse, Evelyn Cross, who was accused of abusing patients and whose disappearance remained a mystery. The more Amelia delved into the asylum's history, the clearer it became that the whispers in the dreams were connected to this grim past. The whispers seemed to echo the suffering and anguish of those who had been wronged in the asylum. The clinic's serene appearance now seemed like a facade masking a lingering malevolence. As the whispers grew more intense, the participants' dreams became increasingly chaotic and terrifying. The forgotten rooms and corridors of the dreamscape started to invade their waking lives. Participants reported feeling cold spots, hearing disembodied voices, and experiencing unexplained physical sensations that mirrored their dreams. Amelia's investigation led her to the realization that Evelyn Cross's spirit was manipulating the study's auditory signals. Evelyn's vengeful spirit was using the study as a means to relive and amplify the suffering she had inflicted on the asylum's patients. The whispers were not random. They were a deliberate attempt to torment the participants and extract revenge. Amelia faced mounting pressure as the participants' mental states deteriorated. Their nightmares became more vivid and horrifying, causing them to question their sanity. Desperate to understand the full extent of the malevolent force at play, Amelia conducted interviews with the participants to gather more information about their experiences. Through these interviews, Amelia discovered that the participants were being led to hidden rooms in their dreams, rooms that mirrored the clinic's forgotten corners and the asylum's dark history. Each participant had encountered a different aspect of the clinic's past, revealing a tapestry of suffering and cruelty that spanned decades. Amelia's sense of urgency increased as the clinic's atmosphere grew more oppressive. The participants' experiences in the dreamscape became increasingly dangerous, with the whispers growing more insistent and the shadowy figures in their dreams becoming more aggressive. In a desperate bid to stop the malevolent force, Amelia and Jamie searched the clinic for hidden passages and secret rooms. They uncovered long-forgotten areas of the building that had been sealed off or hidden from view. The clinic's serene exterior was revealed to be a facade masking a labyrinth of dark secrets. During their investigation, Amelia and Jamie discovered a hidden archive containing records of the asylum's darkest practices. The documents detailed the abuse and experimentation conducted on patients, revealing a pattern of cruelty and neglect that had been covered up for years. The clinic's serene atmosphere was shattered as the spirit's influence extended beyond the study. Participants experienced vivid hallucinations, and the boundaries between their dreams and reality began to collapse. The clinic became a battleground where the past's horrors manifested in the present. Amelia and Jamie prepared for a final confrontation with the spirit of Evelyn Cross. The clinic had become a nightmarish landscape, with the walls and floors distorting and the whispers growing louder. They ventured into the deepest recesses of the clinic, following the eerie trails left by the spirit. In a climactic showdown, Amelia faced Evelyn's spirit in a hidden chamber that mirrored the asylum's darkest corners. The chamber was filled with the remnants of the past, old medical equipment, faded photographs, and haunting memories. Evelyn's spirit manifested as a vengeful apparition, her anger and suffering palpable. Amelia confronted Evelyn with the truth of her actions and the suffering she had inflicted. She used her knowledge of the clinic's past and the study's data to disrupt the spirit's influence. The confrontation was intense, as Amelia struggled to maintain her composure and confront the ghost's fury. In a final act of defiance, Amelia severed the connection between the dreamscape and the spirit's malevolent force. The hidden chamber collapsed, and the spirit's influence began to wane. Evelyn's vengeful spirit was finally laid to rest, and the clinic's oppressive atmosphere began to lift. With Evelyn Cross's spirit laid to rest, the Seraphim Sleep Clinic returned to a semblance of normalcy. The participants, though shaken and traumatized, began to recover from their harrowing experiences. The whispers and haunting dreams ceased, and the clinic's once serene environment was now a place of reflection and healing. Amelia reflected on the traumatic events and the impact they had on her life and career. The study had revealed the dangerous potential of delving into the darkest corners of the human mind. The clinic's future remained uncertain, and Amelia was left to contemplate the ethical implications of their research. The story concluded with a sense of lingering unease, as the echoes of slumber served as a chilling reminder of the past's power to shape the present. The Seraphim Sleep Clinic, though seemingly restored, would forever bear the scars of the malevolent force that had haunted its corridors. Amelia's experience had left an indelible mark, a testament to the fragile boundary between reality and nightmare. Dr. Evelyn Carter stepped out of her car and surveyed the Hawthorne mansion, its Gothic spires piercing the fog that clung to the surrounding forest. The mansion loomed like a dark sentinel, its windows dark and unwelcoming. She was here to oversee a revolutionary sleep study involving an antique mirror, a relic rumored to have mysterious properties. Inside, the mansion's grandeur was marred by decay. Dust motes danced in the shafts of light, filtering through cobwebbed chandeliers. Evelyn and her team, 4 volunteers, each with their own struggles with insomnia, were greeted by the mansion's caretaker, a gaunt old man named Edgar. His somber demeanor and cryptic warnings only added to the mansion's foreboding atmosphere. The participants, Lucas, a 32-year-old artist, Maria, a 29-year-old writer, Daniel, a 40-year-old businessman, and Clara, a 25-year-old graduate student, were all eager to participate, drawn by the promise of overcoming their chronic sleep issues. Evelyn explained the study's objective: to enhance dream recall using the antique mirror. She positioned the mirror in the main study room, its ornate frame reflecting the participants' curious faces. The experiment began with high hopes and an air of scientific optimism, but an undercurrent of unease lingered. The first night was uneventful, but as the participants settled into their sleep pods, each found their dreams increasingly disturbed by the mirror's presence. Subtle distortions and eerie whispers seeped into their dreams, though they initially attributed these to the stress of their new environment. By the second night, the whispers had grown louder, taking on a sinister tone. Participants began to experience unsettling dreams in which their reflections in the mirror transformed into grotesque versions of themselves. These doppelgangers mimicked their every move with malevolent intent, leading the participants through nightmarish hallways and rooms that mirrored the mansion's darkest corners. Evelyn observed the participants' increasing agitation and discussed their experiences with them. They spoke of being beckoned by their reflections, drawn into a labyrinthine nightmare. Evelyn noted their descriptions and began to investigate the mirror's history, sensing that something far more sinister was at play. Evelyn delved into the mansion's history, uncovering a chilling past. Hawthorne Mansion had once belonged to the Hawthorne family, notorious for their occult practices and mysterious disappearances. The antique mirror, a family heirloom, was said to have been used in dark rituals intended to capture souls and manipulate dreams. In her research, Evelyn discovered that the mirror had been the focus of malevolent forces, spirits trapped in a liminal space between dreams and reality. The mansion's dark history was marked by tragedies and betrayals, with the mirror serving as a conduit for the trapped soul's vengeance. Meanwhile, the participants' nightmares grew more vivid and terrifying. They reported seeing the mirror's reflections not just in their dreams, but in the corners of their waking vision. The doppelgangers began to interact with the real world, their actions becoming increasingly hostile. As the study progressed, the line between dream and reality began to blur. Participants experienced vivid hallucinations and began to question their sanity. Lucas and Maria had particularly distressing dreams, where their doppelgangers acted out scenes of torment and despair that seemed to bleed into their waking life. Evelyn and her team worked tirelessly to understand the mirror's influence. They conducted experiments and gathered data, but the sinister force behind the mirror seemed to resist all efforts to quantify or control it. Edgar, the caretaker, revealed that the mirror was a vessel for the mansion's restless spirits, bound by a curse that had never been lifted. The participants' psychological states deteriorated rapidly. Clara had a breakdown after a particularly harrowing dream, and Daniel's behavior became erratic, driven to paranoia by his reflections' taunts. Evelyn realized that the mirror's influence was reaching its climax, and the participants were in imminent danger. In a desperate bid to stop the madness, Evelyn confronted the mirror's dark entity. She discovered a hidden chamber within the mansion, a place that seemed to resonate with the mirror's malevolence. The chamber was filled with remnants of the Hawthorne family's dark rituals, ancient texts, symbols, and a chilling diary detailing the mirror's purpose. The climax of the story involved a harrowing confrontation between Evelyn and the mirror's entity. The mansion became a distorted, nightmarish landscape where the participants' reflections attacked them with renewed fury. Evelyn, armed with the knowledge from the diary, attempted to sever the connection between the mirror and the spirits trapped within. The confrontation was intense and chaotic. Evelyn faced her own doppelganger and taunted her with her deepest fears and regrets. Using the diary's instructions, Evelyn performed a ritual to break the mirror's hold. The chamber's walls twisted and writhed as the mirror's malevolent force was driven back. With the mirror's influence broken, the participants began to recover from their ordeal. The mansion's oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the reflections ceased their torment. Evelyn and her team worked to restore the participants' mental health and provided support for their recovery. The mansion, though now seemingly quiet, remained a haunting reminder of the events that had transpired. Evelyn reflected on the impact of the study and the ethical implications of their research. The mirror was sealed away, and the mansion's dark past was left as a cautionary tale. In the final scenes, Evelyn and the participants left the mansion behind. The experience had left them forever changed, haunted by the reflections they had seen and the dark forces they had confronted. The story concluded with a lingering sense of unease, hinting that the mansion's curse might never be fully vanquished.
Thanks for joining us on this terrifying journey through the darkest depths of horror. We hope these spine-chilling tales have left you with lingering chills and sleepless nights. If you enjoyed the nightmares we conjured tonight, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an unsettling story from Fear Files. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. What did you find the most terrifying? Until next time, keep the lights on and remember, sometimes the greatest horrors lie within the shadows of our own minds. Stay fearless, and we'll see you in the next episode.